Soldier comes in and says, "Sir, when are we going to be evacuating all the civilians from the city?" Erwin replies, "We will not be evacuating anyone." And the soldier's like, "What, Nani?" That had me die. That had me dying because, like, it's just so unreal. It's unnerving because you see this man, like, legit, like, no scared face. Like, he just looks calm and composed, and he's just like, "We will not be evacuating any of the civilians." And everybody's just looking at him like, "What's wrong with you, man? Like, everybody gonna die. Like, this Titan coming in, this turkey Titan coming in, that looks like, you know, some form of roasted turkey, is straight up bigger than the Colossal Titan about to come into the wall. There's nothing we can do to really stop that unless, you know, Eren goes in and tries to stop it." So you're like, you're not evacuating the civilians just for a precaution in case things go south? That moment had me dying. Like, I remember in the manga, like, I didn't really get, like, that affected. Like, I don't remember actually really laughing as much as I did to the scene of how this episode ended. I don't know, just the way they ended the episode off on that, and Erwin just looking so serious, and he's just like, "No, we will not evacuate." I'm like, yo, like, knowing this man, he'll probably tell everybody, all the civilians, to charge towards the Titan to, you know, offer themselves up for humanity's greater good to be able to save everybody, knowing how Erwin is his character. But okay. Jokes aside, though, can we talk about how short this episode felt? Like, it felt like 5 minutes once again, which, it pains me. It really pains me. It really does, because, seriously, like, this season of Attack on Titan has been absolutely amazing. Way better than the manga, in my personal opinion. You don't have to agree with me, but it's definitely been better than the manga. And I'm just, like, really getting into this anime adaptation of Attack on Titan. And all of a sudden, the episode ends. I see the credits play. I'm like, come on, man. Like, come on, man. Like, I just, like, when you're really getting into something, like I always say, it goes so fast. And I hate that so much. It really bugs me. But okay. So, this episode of Attack on Titan. Yeah, the turkey Titan. We finally got to see that animated. Now, the reason why I'm calling it a turkey Titan is because if you really take a good look at the Titan, it legit looks like a walking turkey, like a roasted chicken, turkey, whatever, turducken, whatever type of meat you want to throw in their name. It looks like some form of bird that's been roasted, just crawling on the ground. And you're like, that's hilarious, and you can't unsee that when you actually realize what it looks like. But I do want to take a few moments to mention that the Turkey Titan Rod, I love the way it looks in the anime. Like, okay, I know I'm cracking a lot of jokes, I know I'm making fun of it, saying it looks like a turkey or whatever, but I gotta say, in terms of anime adaptation, the depiction of Rod's Titan form is definitely a lot more jarring or creepy compared to the manga. Because I remember when I was looking at it in the manga, I remember the manga images of the way Rod's Titan form looked. I was kind of slightly disappointed. It was creepy or cool because of how massive it was, and you couldn't imagine how tall it could potentially be if it was to stand on both legs like the Colossal Titan. It would be insane. But I was a little bit disappointed overall for someone like Rod that's been built up for a bit, or, at the very least kind of like the final boss of this arc, to just end up turning into something like that. I'm like, is that really it? But I have to say, the way they nailed his transformation and the way it looked in anime form, it definitely surpassed my expectations. I didn't think that the CGI of that Titan form would look as good as it did. Like, yeah, that was CGI, which I think many might be able to understand or realize that, but the CGI on that Titan form of Rod was impressive by a large margin. Like, I did not expect to see CGI look that good, and just to see how creepy the arm movements was. Like, when you saw the arms just moving and slowly dragging himself on the ground, and you see how his head was just going throughout the ground and all that, just dragging it. It was a really creepy scene, and I think it's because of the way the anime depicted it, that it really amplified that moment from the manga and just made it so much better in this anime episode. So yeah, Rod's Titan form, I have to say anime only. So if you are an anime only and you haven't been spoiled, this is definitely a treat for you, which is once again another reason why I'm jealous of you anime onlys and why I'm trying to become one as well, because seeing this animated probably for the first time is probably just like, this is crazy stuff. Like, this man is just like so massive, he looks like a beast from hell itself. That's what Rod looks like. I mean, when you really take a moment to look at it, it's like you can tell by the way the design of this Titan is that it's so different from anything we've actually seen. I mean, we've had, like, the Beast Titan that's covered in fur, that's talked, we've had Eren, we've had the female Titan, we've had the armor Titan, you know, we've had the Colossal Titan. There's been different shapes and forms of Titans, and creepy, you know, abnormal Titans we've seen throughout the series. But this is the first Titan that really just is very different. Like, you could tell that this Titan, in terms of shape, body, and the way it's just depicted, it's different. The writer really wanted you to realize that this is definitely different from what we're normally used to, and that he wanted to emphasize that this Titan is just not normal. Definitely insanely strong if, you know, it probably had control. Like, if Rod was in control, that Titan would probably be almost nigh unstoppable, most likely. So, that's the big point of what this episode is trying to show. Now, let's talk about Historia. As I said in my last episode review, Historia declared herself as best girl. Like, yeah, how can you deny how much of a best girl she is after what she did to Eren, telling him, like, you know, you wanna, you know, save humanity, I wanna kill off humanity. I'm like, yo, like, Historia, chill. But I just love how she's, like, calling Eren a crybaby, making him wake up and realize, like, stop, you know, being like you are, you know, man up. I really liked Historia in the last episode, and she really has developed a lot as a character, because, I mean, she was someone that was kind of, like, you didn't really care about, like, in Season 1, and you kind of started caring about in Season 2, but you didn't really fully care about her a lot. And then Season 3 came around, and you're like, oh my god, like, Historia's character development, her backstory to her personality now, and how she's literally, you know, playing another role by being the queen of the entire country, just because it's what is demanded of her, what she needs to do to be able to make everybody at peace. I mean, she says she doesn't want to feel like she's forced. Like, she says, like, she won't do it if she's forced or whatever, but she will play the role. She will play the part. It's not like she's 100% gonna like it, but she's not gonna be 100% forced either. Like, she's not gonna be legit just like, hey, you gotta do this right here, right now. She kind of slightly still made her decision, but even then, though, I just like how her character's shown a lot of progression. She's a little bit more blunt. She doesn't try to hide her feelings, and I also like how all the characters in the Survey Corps, at least Eren's group and all that, they understand how Historia is. Like Connie. Connie stood up for Historia in this episode. Like, you know, she doesn't want to be forced to do something that she doesn't want to do and all that, and it was a very good moment for Connie as a character, because honestly, he hasn't had a lot of spotlight in recent episodes or even the recent seasons. It just makes him shine as a character, but also Historia. And that's my big point here, is that Historia, I love her. I love her after this arc. I remember reading this in the manga and I was like, holy crap, Historia has really changed so much. Like, if you compare her to her starter self, like, you go back to Season 1 and look at her starting point as a character for the story, and when you look at her now, you're like, oh my god, this ain't even the same character. This is a completely different person, but I like it a lot. Now, one thing I do want to point out is that there was a little interesting scene with Historia in this episode. Like, a couple of interesting scenes, which I'll go over. Number one, as soon as, you know, Mikasa, she came in to rescue Eren and everybody in Historia, she grabs Historia, and there's a very, you know, a weird scene going on there, which you could say, this is the true ship. This is a true ship between, you know, Mikasa and Historia. This is a Yuri ship that we all needed. Okay, jokes aside, though, there was a funny scene, though, with, Historia Mikasa, where Mikasa's like, hey, when you become queen and all that, to become the ruler, you know, you can punch that, you know, little shrimp in the face. And who Mikasa was talking about was Levi, as we know. Levi is kind of like a short character, and he's kind of, you know, is the one that's like, Historia, you gotta do this or whatever. And Mikasa's like, hey, you know, if you don't like him and all that, you can just, like, right in the face. You know, he can't do nothing about it because he'll be the ruler. So that's a little funny tidbit for the episode I liked, and I don't know if everybody's gonna care about that scene, but that was definitely something that stood out to me that I really enjoyed and got a good laugh out of. Now, I guess I should talk about Eren as a character, you know, what he's accomplished, what he was doing in this episode, and, you know, going forward with him, what is he going to do next. So, Eren, as I said in my last episode review, he got his entire world just shaken up, because he realized he wasn't the most important person in the world. He realized that he might not be the answer to saving humanity. It was, like I said, a big wake-up call. And with this episode, you can see where that mentality carries over. He still feels like, you know, if there's someone better for the job, he's willing to just lay down his life to allow someone to pick up what he left behind. And that's what he was talking to Historia and everybody else at when they were going and following Rod, is that if Rod, can somehow be controlled or captured and, he could break free from the, brainwashing of the First King, maybe it would be better if Eren allowed himself to get eaten by that man, and then, they could control the Titan power legitly and have full access to the abilities. That's what you could assume. And so, what Eren was doing in that moment, it was a very, really, unnerving event for his character, because we've always seen how Eren's been this rage-filled teenager. He's someone that's always wanted to kill all the Titans. That's been his thing. And when he legit says that, it shows what type of person he is, though. And also one of the themes that was going on in this arc is that Eren's willing to lay down his life for everybody else, for the sake of humanity. While you have someone like Erwin, and when the going gets tough, he's kind of like a coward. That's what was stated in this arc. Erwin didn't even really realize it, but he did prioritize his own life over anybody else, all of humanity, and that's kind of what, was stated a couple episodes back. But, Eren, he's someone that was willing to just give it all up, everything up, all answers, everything, just to be able to save humanity. So it speaks volumes of Eren as a character, but also going forward, this is going to definitely change his mindset and to appreciate what he has and how he doesn't want to lose it. And I just like how Historia is also one to cheer him up and actually makes the final decision for Eren. It wasn't Eren really making the decision saying, hey, let's go stop this Titan and all that. Historia's like, look, Eren, I think we have the best chance right now for you to have access to the power, because this is the first time in a long time that the first Titan, the founding Titan's power has been in the hands outside of someone of the royal family. And it obviously being in the hands of the royal family, it hasn't worked thus far, so it would definitely be a better idea to at least take a chance and, have someone that's not a part of, the royal family, of royal blood. And Historia did a really, ballsy, immature move, because she technically is like, I don't care what happens to my father. That's what she pretty much said. Well, she probably slightly cares, but at the same time, she realizes what's important, and she realizes that she doesn't want people to suffer like she suffered. She doesn't want people to end up like her, to where they feel they're alone. They feel like they have nothing. Nobody wants them. She doesn't want anyone to feel like that. And so, she's willing to stand up, fight, and do what is right, which is why she decided to become queen in the first place, to make sure nobody ends up like she was throughout her life, or someone like Eren as well. When he started saying, I shouldn't exist, I shouldn't have been born as well, she was also wanting to protect, Eren from something like that as well. So yeah, it's a very intriguing episode, and it just makes you think. It's a great episode. And definitely one of my personal favorites of Attack on Titan. I mean, I know I've been saying this kind of every week, but every episode gets better and better in its own way. And I also, if you're into Titan action as well, I guess this is an episode for you, because you actually finally got your Titan action. I mean, we got Rod turning into a giant Titan that's bigger than a colossal Titan. Eren learned how to get hardening, so, I mean, yeah, he's finally moving up in the world. He took Titan, hardening skills. So, yeah, the man can, he can actually make crystallized, walls and stuff now to be able to block the wall to actually reclaim the wall once again, how it was in the first season. But that's pretty much about it, so let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below. And with that, I love you guys. Please be safe. Chibi out.